are officially live on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm going to go ahead and press go live on Instagram. There it is. And we're going live on Instagram as well. And we are live. It is Wednesday night. I feel the anointing already. It is 10:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are about an hour behind, an hour late, but we're still going to have a phenomenal time of impartation and conversation. It is time for Sons Only. As you can see, the logo on the screen says For Sons Only, FSO. All right? This ain't for the record. This ain't for everybody, all right? This ain't for the common podcaster. This is not for the common viewer. This is for those that sense purpose, sense destiny, in accountability, in leadership, in submission. And we're going to have a phenomenal conversation. This idea was birthed from Sons, and we've been doing this probably for the past few months now, and it has been absolutely phenomenal. The conversations, the transparency, the vulnerability, and tonight is going to be no different. It is time for Sons Only. What it do? Look, y'all, we are live on Instagram. Come on, go ahead. We got the couch. Go ahead, show them the couch. We got the couch. We are live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. It is good to see everybody. What it do? I'm super excited. You can come back to me. Give me the second camera. I'm super excited because today we have a special guest in the house. Today we have a special guest on the couch. And before we talk about him, before we announce him and give him accolades and give him honor and shout and cheer and all that different kind of stuff, how are y'all doing? I need y'all to go ahead and do me a favor, do the work of an evangelist, and go ahead and like and share. Like the video, share the video. Let somebody know that For Sons Only is on. I see y'all. What it do? You can give me camera one. Yo, okay, that's fine. You just did it. You just did, because I was looking at the Instagram, and Instagram hadn't updated yet. So whatever. Okay, so go ahead, like, share. Remember, every single Wednesday we're here. We're trying to go live at 9:30. We're a little bit late tonight, but thank y'all so much for your patience. I'm super excited about tonight. If you see the subject, if you see the title, it's called The Son, the Worshiper. And while that may sound nice, while that may sound like we're talking about songs and sounds and music, we're going to be talking about sacrifice, because the heart of worship is sacrifice and the heart of sonship is sacrifice. So it's going to be an in-depth, it is going to be a gut-wrenching, it is going to be an excruciating conversation, but I think it's going to help somebody. And to have this conversation, to cultivate this type of dialogue, we got two amazing sons on the couch. We got Jeff Lewis. What's your middle name, Jeff, again?
Khalil.
Yeah. We said that on Monday. We was talking about that on Monday. We got Jeff Kryptonite Lewis. And we got Atreyu. Do you have a middle name, Trey?
I do, but I do not want to share it.
You don't want to share? This ain't that type of podcast.
I got 25 middle names.
You got 25 for real?
Just about. My middle name, I'm named after both my grandfathers. So it's Robert James and Jeremiah.
That's awesome. Come on, exactly. That's what I'm like. Folks always do that. Like, I don't want to share it, and it be regal.
Do you feel like if you say it in one sentence, it's a lot?
Yeah, it's like Atreyu, Robert James, Jeremiah, Singleton. Blah, blah,
yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
100%. Dang, Atreyu,
Robert
James, Jeremiah.
See, here we go.
No, that's really good. I like it. I feel like, because Atreyu is different. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, when I always thought your name was Trey, and then somebody was like, "What?" I think somebody called you Atreyu, and I was like, "What you call him?" or whatever. I thought it was an anime character. I didn't know what it was. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, he's a Super Saiyan. You know what I mean? I was always jealous because I love that name, but to know that you got regular names too makes me feel good too, man. You have an awesome name. I hated my name.
Really?
Growing up, I hated my name. Brian is such a Poindexter name.
It's not that bad. It's not worse than
It's
Jeffrey.
not that bad.
Jeffrey
Jeffrey sounds like you have an inheritance waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? Like Jeff, like when I hear Jeffrey, you know what I'm saying? Like I hear dignity, I hear nobility. When I hear Brian, I just Brian. And Brian. That's what I hear, you know what I mean? But no, man, that's amazing. But we got two amazing sons, two faithful sons, two loyal sons. And we're talking about for the short span of time they have served. And more so, speaking about Jeff, when I say the short span of time, Jeff is new. You know, Jeff only been around for a couple of years, but he's been killing it.
Yes, sir.
What do you say, man? You gotta get that hate out your heart, man.
Come on, man. You gotta get that hate. You know what I'm saying?
Get that hate out your heart, bro. You heard?
That's great.
All right, but Jeff been doing a killer job. But these are two guys that I love. Even this year, I want to make it a point. Me and Trey supposed to be spending more time together, even when I study and stuff like that. We've talked about that. But these are two guys that I really like their personality. I love their gift. But more than anything, both of them, in a similar fashion, have a level of honor intelligence that I think goes well beyond their natural years. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation with them because they do different things in the ministry, but they both have a musical background. And maybe that plays a part in their sensitivity, in their prophetic wiring, or in their ability to serve. So it's going to be a really, really good conversation. So do me a favor, go ahead, log on, go ahead, tap in, do me a favor, go ahead and like the video, share the video, tag somebody in the video that may serve in ministry, that may be in ministry, may have a call of God on their life. If they serve in a church, if they serve their pastor, I believe that this conversation is going to be life to them. All right. It's good to see everybody. My name is Brian Meadows. I want to welcome you all to For Sons Only. I always love to do the branding. They did a great job with the branding, but For Sons Only, always want you all to make sure you turn your notifications on. So every single Wednesday when we go live, you get the notification. All right. So before we start the conversation, let's go ahead and go to the couch. Gentlemen, tell me how y'all are doing, how your day been going, how your week been going. How has this season been for you? Let me know what's going on in your life before we get into a conversation.
My day was
Go ahead, bro. It's you.
all right. My day was great. I had a session today with some amazing artists and gifts. We're getting ready for the Destiny Experience.
Come on now, Destiny
Yes, sir.
Experience.
Yes,
Let me
sir.
go
Yes,
ahead and
sir.
put it on the screen. Come on, y'all. Destiny Experience. I need y'all to come register May 24th. Go to thedestinyexperience.com and go ahead and register. Sign up. Get your ticket today. Go ahead, Trey.
Yeah, so it's been amazing. Pretty much resting and just doing what I love. I'll get a lot of energy from just doing what I'm passionate about. So no complaints. The only thing that got me tripped up is this time change. It seemed like the days are going faster. It seemed like if I take a nap, I wake up and it's the next day. Seems like, but other than that, it's been great.
It might be you getting old a little bit too now. It could be you getting old a little bit too. But before you go on, what about this season for you? What do you feel like God is emphasizing in this season? What do you feel like the Lord is doing in you in this particular season?
He's getting me out of my comfort zone as far as just being someone that's behind the piano, and just now he's giving me opportunity to speak and to use my voice as an instrument. So I have some opportunities, just speaking engagements, but personally, I want to squeeze every ounce of the anointing out of my gift this year and leave nothing behind. I feel like just growing up, I was kind of held back because the church I was raised up in, church was my life, but it was kind of a legalistic kind of, environment. So I felt held back, but now I'm just like, nothing is holding me back now.
100%.
And I'm just going forward. So that's what season I am. And that's what God is doing in my life, taking me out of my comfort zone, but just squeezing every ounce of potential anointing out of my life, so I can leave something behind, a legacy.
No, that's 100%. That's absolutely awesome. And I see it every day. I see it every week. I get a chance to see the growth, and what we're doing with the Destiny Experience is going to be crazy. He just mentioned it, but I need y'all to go to thedestinyexperience.com. Go ahead and get your ticket. It's going to be crazy. We're going to talk about it a little bit in a second, but going to Jeff. Jeff, how your day been going? What's going on with you? I know this week is a crazy week. It's an amazing week. And talk about what God is doing in this particular season of life.
Yeah, so I work backwards. In this season of life, similar to Trey, I would say more so out of the comfort zone for me, it's revealing to me how much of a treasure I am. I think that that's something that has been I've like downplayed it. I've suppressed it.
He's a treasure.
Out of fear to, but not even on that, but like how much like you said all the time, like, hey, you remind us daily. He says that, like the word says, he puts treasure in earthen vessels. So it's like, all right, how much of that is in me? How can I disperse that properly? And how can I use my treasures to be a bridge? You know what I mean? Like to be a better evangelist. You know what I mean? Like me and Dave was talking about that earlier. So I think that this season he's highlighting that. And then also you said something the other week, we was back here and you was like, man, like, look, the opportunity we got as a house, the opportunity you have is like, God has given us a green light. And we talk about it all the time. Like when you're in close proximity, if God gives your leader the green light, then he gives you the green light to elevate and to grow too. So I really feel like a lot of that is happening with different opportunities that are popping up. And just being patient, picking the right ones, praying on them. Yeah. And making sure that if there's a door I can get through, if there's somebody that can get through the door with me that can benefit also, I'm gonna do that. Because it's just like that's the thing. That's what I do. But today was smooth. I had tacos today. Okay. It's Wednesday. Not even Tuesday. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's Wednesday. I had tacos today. It was slapping. It was this place in Dunwoody. I don't remember the name. I just know that it was a little hole in the wall joint. It's pretty good.
Usually the best ones.
Yeah, they the best ones. They messed up my order the first time though. They definitely messed up my order.
So did you have Chick-fil-A today? Because you said Chick-fil-A messed up your order. Okay. So you had Chick-fil-A and you had tacos. Yeah. You ate out twice today.
Yes. So this is why though. The first time I ate out.
That's not good budgeting, bro.
I only spent $20
on both of them.
Because I had points for Chick-fil-A.
Okay. Yeah. I was about to say because Chick-fil-A already by itself.
No. It's called a large fry and an Arnold Palmer.
That's what you had from Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, because I had it before I got here. I ain't eating nothing too crazy because I had 4 tacos. I was good. I had 4 tacos. I was straight. So I was like, let me get a little snacky snack because we're going to be up late tonight. You know what I mean? That was it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. So my day was smooth. But how about you? How do you feel about the season that you in? What's going on? How was your day? Talk to us.
Yeah, no, day was awesome. Day was full. Had a lot going on today. Stuff that I really didn't think I had to do. I plan to get up here and be a part of the music session with Trey, but realized I needed to do a few things. I need to put my car in the shop, getting ready to go out of town. Had to have a conversation with a few more artists. And so it was a lot that I was doing today, a lot of voice notes. Many of y'all got those voice notes. So I was sending a lot of voice notes, some Zoom meetings, writing. Just it was busy. Just felt a lot of inspiration. So got a lot of work done. It was productive. No, I mean, this particular season that I'm in, I'm excited, man. I mean, it seems like everything in a great way is coming to a head. It's like a perfect storm of potential, like a perfect storm. All the different winds of God are coming together. And I think it's just a phenomenal season. I was thinking about something when you all were saying that, about even Trey, you just saying that you can't, suppress your gift anymore. You just got to take the risk. You just got to do it. I've learned, leadership, pastoring, being a spiritual father, a pioneer, an apostle, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about all different functions and different graces that require you to go ahead, right? So as a leader, you have to go ahead. As a father, as a husband, you have to go ahead. As a pastor, you got to go ahead. As a pioneer, if you're an inventor, you have to go ahead. If you're an apostle, you have to go ahead. And the reason why this is significant is you don't realize that when you go ahead, everybody behind you is taking their cue from you. Mm-hmm. They're establishing their pace by you, their confidence, what's important, so forth and so on. All of this stuff is happening based on kind of what you're doing in front of them. So I remember there was a time when we were, at Embassy, while we were building this church, building the culture, there was a time where, and I'm not saying that I'm fully confident. I'm not saying that I fully embrace my artistry. I think I'm still getting there. But there was a time that it was rough. I did not trust myself at all. I did not trust my gifting. I didn't necessarily know my administration. I didn't trust my creativity at all. And everybody under me suffered because of that. Because the leader is a cap. While the leader is a covering, the leader is also a cap. So the leader has to continue to grow lest he cap the growth of those under him.
The law of the lid.
The law of the lid, 100%. I want to say that's John Maxwell, right?
John
The law of the lid. And so Saul was a lid to David, right? Jacob was a lid to Joseph, blah, 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 blah. You get the story. So I realize now, as I'm beginning to see myself embrace more and more of my authenticity, I'm watching those under me start to embrace it more and take those risks more and to really trust their gift more, or just to discover new areas and dimensions of their gift. Let me ask y'all this as we start to just cultivate this conversation. What is it like for you? Because again, Trey, you came in 325, not saying that I was good or great or whatever, but I'm definitely better now than I was then. All right. And guess what? When you came, you got the best of who I was then, because there were some people that had been there for 3 or 4 years, and the me you got, they didn't get. They dealt with an even worse version of me. Are you following me?
Yeah, I got you.
And they still stayed and they endured that. What is it like enduring the evolution of the person you're under, watching them grow, watching them make mistakes, watching them discover their own authenticity? Is it excruciating? Is it fun? I mean, how is that?
For me, it was, I know everyone needs grace extended, because I know I need it every day. So for me, it was just, I think we were both, because it was new for me, the embassy culture, the embassy environment. You as a pastor was new for me. So I came in with that mentality of we're growing together. I've been under pastors that were old. You are the youngest pastor I've been under. So I knew it was going to be some learning. So I came with that level of grace. Like, he's learning as a pastor. I'm learning this culture. I'm learning the environment. So for me, it was kind of, I think it was easy, honestly. But for me personally, I don't put everything in my pastor's hands, if that makes sense. I'm not expecting you to do everything for me. So I don't put that heavy responsibility on you. So I never looked at you as, well, he's messing up, so I can't, whatever season we're going through. I put some of my, like, even my Christian walk in my hands. I come and look at you as someone that is going to feed me the word, but it's my responsibility to eat and apply it. Right. So I never looked at you as doing a bad job or whatever, what have you. I just looked at it as he's growing in this area just as I'm going to grow. So have you been able to see any shifts? And I'm going to go to you in just a second, Jeff. I want to hear what you say. But through your time that you've been here, have you been able to see any shifts? Like, have you ever came in on Sunday like, oh, now that's different? Or maybe see me handle a situation where maybe I was a little too lenient, and then maybe as you've grown with me, say, oh, he ain't playing no game. Have you seen me evolve to any degree? Yes, I've seen you evolve. I remember we had a staff meeting here, and I'm just going to paraphrase it, but you came in and was like, I'm not playing no more. You know what I'm saying? We have an opportunity, and we don't have an opportunity to drop the ball on this one. And you said, and I think one thing you said that kind of stick with me is that we have to start making everything a big deal. And when I remember leaving that, I'm like, man, he ain't playing. I was scared for my job. Like, when I come up here, and but I saw that shift as like, it was like a shift from a pastor to an apostle. Like, you're setting order, and this is how it's going to be from here on out. That's crazy, man. No, that is crazy, because when I first started this church, the only thing I knew to be was an apostle. I didn't know how to be a pastor, but I hurt people, and I probably stretched people further. Well, I stretched people without pastoral care. Right? You can apostolically stretch somebody as long as you have pastoral care. But if you don't have pastoral care, you can break people. And I think I broke people because I was just an apostle. I didn't know how to be a pastor. And then I started to be a pastor more, and I felt like I put the apostolic authority down. But that made people
I don't want to say, what is the word I'm looking for? Not second guess. What is the word? I think it made people underestimate my authority, or maybe made people like not recognize, or type of deal. And I started to get a lot more people being familiar, maybe even disrespectful, whatever the case may be. And I think when we got probably even before we got into this building, maybe a year before that, I started to feel the pressure of like, my call to speak to doctrine, theology, speak to the body of Christ. And I realized I couldn't do that if I just wanted to be this local pastor. So I do think that the last few years I've tried to, in a new way, embrace that apostolic role and all that comes with it. And so that's probably what you felt as well. What about you, Jeff? Have you seen that, like, as far as maybe if you've seen me insecure, maybe if you've seen me scared, maybe if you've seen me, I don't know, afraid to deal with conflict, have you seen the trickle down effect? And then also, as I've evolved, have you seen that help you evolve in any area?
Absolutely. I think one of the things we talked about last week is John chapter 5, like a son can only see, he only do what he sees his father doing, right? Mm-hmm. So I think to work backwards, absolutely, evolution has happened. And I think that the dopest part about it is something you said was crazy. It's like, hey, it's my responsibility to, take my walk with the Lord. Like, I got to take responsibility for that. But I think that's the mark of a true son, right? If your dad gives you the blueprint for something, and it's leading you to a great destiny, it's leading you to righteousness, you take that blueprint and you figure out your wiring as you go. You're still watching him, but you work out your own soul salvation, right? But I would say in terms of my evolution, yeah, I feel like I've had leaps and bounds just in the past, I would say since August. Like, I'm definitely not the same person that I was August of 2023 now. And it's always continuing to happen. I think that you have this really great sensitivity to when it is trying to, all right, we gotta go to the next level, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, my job is to make sure if you can see me as I'm being taken up, you'll get what you know what I mean? Like, you'll take that. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think that that's like, it leaves in my mind. Cause when I came down here, bro, I didn't come down here on I'm a serve. I came down on, look, the Lord gave me a gift to act. He told me he was going to open the door for me. I'm going to come here. I'm going to go to the church. I'm going to chill. I'm going to go get bread. I'm going to go be in the industry. I'm going to be quiet. I'm blah, blah, boom. And that wasn't the play. Right. And I'll never forget once I first started serving and I saw how intentional he was about his preparation, how intentional he was about his prayer. Like, one of the craziest moments we had in here is the night that my prayer life shifted, because we started talking about different rhythms and we started talking about using your body. Because usually, like, if you grow up in more traditional based churches, they're not teaching you to use your body. So they're not teaching you that it's very important for, if you want to open heaven, for you to open it over your head. If you want to open heart, for you to open, you know what I mean? Like, they're not teaching that. So I've seen that evolution. I've seen it be able to affect, just my life in a great way. And I remember one time I was watching him and I had told the Lord, I'm like, man, look, I'm cool off of, just being involved. And the Lord was kind of like, I gave you that and you're going to let what I gave you die. And I was just like, yeah, no. So ever since then, it's made like a heightened sensitivity to, man, just evolve as the same way he says, like, fail as fast and as often as you can, evolve as often as you can. So I definitely, I do see that for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think failure many times is the foundation for the transformation, right? Failure is the catalyst for you to start to address areas in your life that need to grow, that need to mature. But we're all growing, just like they're saying in the chat. We're all growing. But I do think that it's incumbent upon the leader to grow so that those under him or under her can grow. And I think that this is what separates the leader from the follower, right? I was just talking to somebody today and they were upset. It was just like, I don't understand why people can be so mean or how people can talk about people behind their back. And I said, the reason they can do that is because they're not you. That's the reason they're the follower. Is because they can't control their mouth. They can't control their attitude. They can't control that. They always got to gossip. And that's what's going to always keep them the follower. What stops them from going to the next level of responsibility and authority is them sacrificing that little itch that they got to scratch to vent to somebody, or that little itch that they got to scratch to tell somebody off. That is what's stopping God from trusting you. And then many times stopping leaders from trusting you. And so, I'm glad that we're all growing, and I'm glad that you all give us, well, let me say it like this. I'm glad that you all give me space. I was thinking about this. I was talking to somebody. So the body of Christ, and of course, we're going to transpose the principle. You have the body of Christ, then you have the body like you have the body of Christ, the mystical body. You have the body, which is the organizational body. Christ is the head of the mystical body. All right. Your senior pastor is the head of the organizational body. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then the husband or the man is the head of the family unit or the family body. All right. So now if you're playing football, they have helmets on. Now, if you notice, the helmet has an outer shell and an inner shell. Now, the outer shell is hard, but the inner shell is soft, right? Mm-hmm. The outer shell is to stop things that are on the outside from getting in. But the inner shell is to stop the head that's on the inside, to soften the movement or the blow of the head moving on the inside.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Every person needs hard accountability and soft accountability. All right. And hard accountability is like moral laws and contracts. It's ministerial stipulations. It's marital vows, blah, 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 blah. But even though you have those hard lines or those hard accountability, you still need people around you that understand you, that get your issue. They're not going to castigate you. They're not going to isolate you. They're going to be firm, but they're not going to be unyielding. They're going to be understanding. What sons give to fathers that many times the congregation and other people don't give is sons create an insulated environment where the father can be human. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I feel something, man. All right. Point. And one of the ways that watch me. Jesus is in with his disciples. And all of a sudden, a woman comes in. All right. I'm talking about a strange woman. And everybody's like, what's she about to do? She take out a box. Now, she done spent her whole year savings on this box, perfume. But everybody know she's not a clean woman. She's not a priestess. She's not like, she's out there. But she done saved up and she want to bring Jesus this thing, right? Everybody else is just watching to make sure that she ain't gonna do nothing crazy. There's one person that's actually upset. She of course breaks the alabaster box. She takes her hair, she takes her tears, she wipes, blah, 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 blah. What I'm saying is, if I can't be, now again, there's a difference between being human and being wicked.
Absolutely. That's good.
Yes, sir.
You follow what I'm saying? If I'm doing some Diddy stuff, are you following what I'm saying? You should be friends enough, or you should be close enough that you could be like, you gonna drink all of it? You gonna put that, like, you should at least ask some questions, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about humanity. There should be space for even the greatest of us to be weak. Yeah. And that's what sons give fathers the opportunity. Foxes have holes, the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his, going back to the head, to lay his head. All right. So I've had an ongoing, evolving relationship with the both of you, right? And it's interesting because, like I said a little bit before, that me and Trey are even I want to say just now, but even more now being intentional about having a closer relationship or whatever the case may be. I want to talk to familiarity, because in order for me to be comfortable around you, in order for you to protect me and all that different kind of stuff, there has to be a level of vulnerability. But so many pastors don't want to be vulnerable. They want to keep up the facade, because the moment they are vulnerable or transparent, people get familiar. They go from saying, hey, how you doing, Bishop, to hey, Doc, to hey, bruh, to what up? And that progression is heartbreaking, because what people don't see is that progression of from Bishop to what's up is stopping your ability to receive impartation. It's starting to skew your perspective of me to the point that my ministry is no longer working for you. How do you fight familiarity? How do you stay in the pocket as a son? And as I'm evolving, as I'm growing, you continue to be able to be fed. You continue to be able to receive and have revelation. How do you fight familiarity?
How I fight it is the why I'm called to you is that's how keeping that at the forefront.
That's tough.
Because even I come from, my wife's a PK, and I would say like that was my first understanding of sonship under his leadership. And honestly, I never called him dad in public. It was always Bishop. Gotcha. And if you, Apostle, notice, I never call you dad in public because that's like a term of endearment. I call you Apostle because I want to hold you, just not for me at a higher level, but for people to also see that this is my apostle. This is my pastor. So I kind of, like I said, keep the call, like why I'm called to you at the forefront. And like the disciple said to Jesus, you have the words of eternal life. You have the words for my life in this season. That's why I'm sitting under you. So always keeping that at the forefront of like, I'm called to this. And I just think being familiar, just that level of anointing of receiving from you kind of dwindles down too. When I'm familiar, like even when you're speaking, I never want to get that way, just where I'm familiar. So there's certain things that I do to keep you at that level and not take it for granted.
No, and one thing that I like, what's a telltale sign if a person, I don't even know how I want to say it, but let me say this. As a pastor, I'm always watching who's listening.
Yep.
Right? Because if a person starts working, serving to the point that they leave the sanctuary when I preach, you talking about a demon? You talking about, you follow what I'm saying? Like to the point where they stop taking notes. Like, who are you? When did you get to the point where you ain't got to take notes? But the fact that you think because you're serving, it eclipses the responsibility of you actually intentionally trying to engage the word. And then people have the nerve to say stuff like, I'm not growing. You stopped eating the moment you start serving.
That's tough.
Right? And a lot of times there's entitlement where it's like, well, I'm serving, so you need to feed me or you need to do A, B, and C or whatever the case may be. But like when I start seeing people serve and they're no longer taking notes or they're no longer listening to it during the word or they're no longer responding to the word, for me, that's a telltale sign that, hey, there's a level of familiarity. And, usually you're going to start to see that person not grow. What about you? Jeff? Like you get a chance to travel. And I am fortunate that Trey has had the opportunity to travel with me as well. And we definitely always want him to travel more. There's always a need. I'm telling you, we get to the point where we need a starting five. You know what I mean? Like we need somebody that's going to be the armor bearer. We need somebody that's going to be the musician, somebody that's going to get the content. We got to have the barber. And then what else we got?
George.
I'm saying what other position? Somebody cut the hair.
You need somebody to drive
Bro,
too, man.
so George always got the heat though. George is the only person I trust with the gun. He's the only person. I don't know why George be giving Jeff that. Goodness. But
that's crazy.
No, for real, we're getting to the point where we do need more than just one person or whatever. But you get the opportunity to travel. You see me in many different lights. How do you fight familiarity? Or how do you fight just the tendency or the temptation to just be like, bruh, or oh, he cool, or, whatever the case may be. How do you fight that?
I served my dad growing up, so I got a cheat code. Right. And I got to always be aware of that. I think, being a pastor's kid, you learn how to fight through that because it's two sides of the coin. My dad was my pastor, but at the same time, he's still my dad. So even if I disrespect you or dishonor you spiritually, when I get home, you're going to whip my behind. I'm not trying to deal with that. On this end of the spectrum, the whipping is, your sensitivity decreases. And that's not a spot I ever want to be in.
What do you mean?
Like, so if it's like if you were to ever become familiar or dishonorable, like you said, like, you're going to stop listening. It happens. Like, it's a progression. Like, dishonor and familiarity, they don't just start and it's like a one-time thing. Like, no, it slides over time. So I think it's up to the person to be mature and to be sensitive enough in their heart to always have a metronome of like, hey, this is where I'm at. I always got to be, what happened?
He gonna use metronome because Trey is on the couch.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I think that's strategic. I think it's smart. But the fact that you're gonna use a musical term while you sing by the maestro, I just think it's kind of corny.
It's grace, man. It's grace. It's grace from you. I mean, come on. So, but no, I think that's really that was crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't say from both sides, so that stopped the crazy.
You got some on your nose right there.
Nah, but I learned how to fight it early.
Yeah,
I learned how to fight it early, and then I would just say, being with you, I always keep in mind, like, hey, like at the end of the day, again, why I'm called to you and why God chose you for me. You know what I mean? Yes, because that's not a choice that I made. You know what I mean? It was like, this is where I want you to be. This is, who's going to help you get to that next level of your destiny. And then I also think too, growing up, I saw how people being dishonorable and familiar with my parents, I saw how it affected my father's confidence. And I personally told myself, I was like, yeah, that's, if I ever have to go serve another man of God or I'm a pastor, I don't ever want that to be around me, because I see the effects of confidence, not only to my dad, but to my mom too. So I'm always sensitive to remembering, the effects of it. Like, remembering the effects. If you've seen it early on, you should be able to catch on to it and then do what you gotta do to be straight. So
I think with every relationship though, what Dr. Miles Monroe said, when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Like when I don't know the purpose of why you're in my life, I'm gonna abuse that and get familiar with you. And I just think like that's how you set up. You got to know your why. Like, why is Apostle in my life? Why is this? And I think that kind of holds that, that familiarity, at bay, because I know the reason. I think a lot of times we do stuff and the purpose, we don't know the purpose. So it's just like, oh, that's just Apostle. That's just this such and such. And not knowing, like, even going as like, Pastor Anna's anointed, and like getting familiar with that anointing. It's like, oh, that's just Pastor Anna. And like you said, you close that door or that heaven or that anointing over because you're familiar with that grace, So I just think it's the purpose of why people are placed in your life that keeps you not getting familiar with
There's so
them.
much that we're going to talk about tonight, because I want to talk about Trey is a minstrel. He's our MD. And so he understands how to instigate, how to massage, how to manage the heart of the Father, not just the Heavenly Father. We want to talk about how do you do that atmospherically and environmentally to the pastor that you serve. But before we do that, when we talk about familiarity, right? Familiarity doesn't happen in one moment. It's not just, oh, y'all went out to a barbecue and now all of a sudden he went from bishop to bruh in one barbecue, right? A lot of times it's a collection. Watch me, y'all. I want y'all to really listen to this. It's a collection of him. Watch this. It's a collection of his humanity being revealed, right? But when we say humanity being revealed, it starts like this. Hey man, let's go out to eat, or let's I want to meet with you or something like that. And say one day we meet, but say the next day I oversleep. You ain't never seen the pastor be late. You ain't never seen the pastor oversleep. And then the moment he does that, in your mind just a little bit like, right? Like, well, if he can be late, I can be late. So now the next time he's on time, but you're a little bit late. But you don't expect him to say nothing, because why would he say something? You didn't say nothing. So now when you get late, he's like, hey man, where were you? Now internally, you know what you're really thinking is, weren't you just late? But to think that is already dishonor.
Right.
Absolutely.
Wow.
To say it would be disrespectful, because you're not acknowledging the dynamic play that you ain't him and he ain't you.
Yeah.
Are you following me? Like, he was late because he overslept, because he had to do counseling and a deliverable, or maybe because he's just tired. You were late because you just didn't take it that seriously. Those are two different things.
That's good.
Right? So, but get this, that's in your heart. So what I'm saying is, familiarity isn't just one moment. Watch me. It's a collection of disappointments. Because at some point, I'm going to disappoint you. At some point, I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to do what I said. And you're going to see my humanity, that I'm not God. The same way God is not a man that he should lie. I might lie to you.
Yeah.
I may say I'm feeling great and I'm not feeling great. And you be like, dang, why didn't he tell me the truth, or whatever the case may be? So after you've been disappointed and you've been offended and you've been hurt and you feel like somebody's not being truthful to you, now when all of that build up, that's what I'm talking about as familiarity. Mm-hmm. And how do you deal with being disappointed? Oh, I got a question. How do you deal with being disappointed with somebody you can't discipline? I'm asking you. No, to them.
Don't go to the couch, Daniel.
No, he on the couch now.
No, don't go to us. That's yeah.
You need time to think on that one. Jeez Louise.
But you follow me. Because it's all good and well. See, this is the thing. It's all great because you can, of course, follow them when you think that they're perfect. Mm-hmm. And of course, you can follow them when their imperfection hasn't hurt you yet. I feel like preaching, man. But the moment their imperfection starts to hurt you, can you still serve with that same level of honor? Or when the winds and the waves come and Negro in the belly of the boat sleep, do you get offended? Like, bro, he don't see what I'm going through. He don't see the fact that I ain't got a job and he still want me to come up here and serve. He don't see the fact that my family's sick or I'm going through this and I ain't got this and he still want me to serve. All of that is working out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling. A good father understands when you get out in the world, is the world going to stop for you to recalibrate? No. The world going to go on. So why should ministry stop? Because you're going through something. And it's the father's job to help walk you through that and disciple you through that. But no, I don't know if y'all thought about it anymore, but I mean, it's a real question, because when we talk about pastors revealing their humanity, that's what we're talking about. The same issues you have, same days, sometimes you don't want to get out of bed, sometimes you don't want to deal with people. You're going to see that side of your pastor at some point. And how do you see that side and maintain? We talk about this a lot. The mystique and awe. How do you maintain the level of reverence for that man or that woman of God when you see, bro, they're just like me. But this ain't gonna be a good interview. If we might as well. This ain't gonna be a podcast. A podcast supposed to be a conversation. Y'all ain't saying nothing.
No, that's real talk for me. I always keep it at. I need grace too. Yeah. Like I always keep that at the forefront in everything. Even going to me personally with my son, we just had a situation to where, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And I was like, Lara was like, he wants these shoes, he wants this, he wants that. And I said, no, he don't deserve it right now. But they went and got the shoes. And I was about to get him like, what? He got these shoes? Why he got? And the Holy Spirit said, you need grace too.
That's crazy.
Like you need it too. You thought something crazy today. You need it too. So I think keeping that at the forefront, like you said earlier, you're human. We going through this human experience. Life is going to happen, and just keeping like we all need grace. I think when we get that out of our head, then it's just like how dare you? How dare he? And we dealing with the same issues.
Yeah.
And I just think keeping that at the forefront is that everybody needs grace. We're going to
go back to it. Let me just do this real quick. I want to just give a shout out to everybody that's joining. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, we're also live on IG, and IG is popping, y'all. All right, IG is popping. I do want to say what's up to everybody that's joining on IG every single Wednesday night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're a little bit late tonight. We have a special podcast called For Sons Only. And when we say sons, we're talking about those that are in ministry, those that serve their pastor, those that serve leadership, those that are in high-level positions, or those that just feel a level of responsibility or burden, taking their organization to the next level, whether it's a business, a church, nonprofit, it doesn't matter. So these are the types of conversations that we have every single week. We have different guests, we have different conversations. It's really, really dope. But I want y'all to do me a favor. If y'all have not yet, I need y'all to go to thedestinyexperience.com. If you have not went to that website, I need you to go to thedestinyexperience.com. May the 24th, y'all, May the 24th, I'm having a immersive, imaginative, interactive, theatrical presentation that I think is going to absolutely floor you. And I want you to be involved. I want you to be there. I want you to be there to witness it and experience it. So go to thedestinyexperience.com. All right. And go ahead and get your tickets. Go ahead and get your tickets. They're the lowest they're going to ever be. Get your tickets. It's only $40.
Yes,
yeah. Get your ticket. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to see you there. It's going to be really, really dope. All right. So let's go to this now. And I want to make sure I give Jeff, I don't know if you had an opportunity to respond to that. As far as just how do you deal with disappointment when you don't necessarily have the ability to discipline? Did you speak to that?
No, I didn't.
Go ahead,
if you want to flow, we can flow.
No, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So I look at it real practical. It's like being in the gym, right? So how I handle you disappointing me prepares me for the weight I have to carry. Because I always look at it like you carrying the weight of two worlds. I'm just carrying the weight of my life right now. So you're responsible for a whole bunch of people. You're responsible for a major system that's in play. You're responsible for still making sure that your family is straight, right? So it's so many different sides. And it's like me. I'm just me, right? Like I got my, my spiritual things that I'm working on, mental, emotional, but I don't have that weight right now. So I look at it as there's no point. It's like, okay, if we don't hang out, it might be a disappointment. If it's like, oh, okay, well, we forget to have this call, that call, it might be a disappointment. But like, what does that mean? Because it's like, I'm just at a lesser weight than you right now. And I have to respect that distance. I don't think it's anything wrong with doing that. It's like being in the gym and having a spotter, somebody who's training you for something. If you see them, struggling with 425 on the bench, but you only bench 225, 185, it's like, even if they fail, it's like, yo, that's still 425 pounds. Mm-hmm. I'm not there yet. So I don't have as much as a right as, my feelings or my opinions think they do to hold a standard of disappointment over your head or towards you in my heart. So I just look at it like that. It's weight versus weight, and you got to know what yours is.
But 100%, I totally agree. I think you have to be cognizant just of roles, responsibilities, authority. I think you have to be cognizant of that. But when you are in a relationship for your own gain, you're constantly upset when you don't get your needs met. Yeah. Right? Like when if you're in here for the come up, then you're gonna have like your watch out saying, I need a meeting, I need this. But if we're doing life together, and this is one of the things that frustrates me as a pastor, y'all, it's like, why do you need a meeting when you can talk to me every day? Yeah. Like, I'd rather you talk to me every day, be accountable every day. But do you really think it's feasible for me to have an hour-long meeting with every single person that wants to talk to me? That's crazy, right? And it ain't even ever an hour. It's usually 2 hours or whatever the case may be. So if I need a meeting, why can't you just talk to me? Yeah. Right? Why can't we just have a real relationship? You see me walking, pull me to the side, hey, blah, blah. And so let's have that. So I think sometimes people are in a rush and they don't really understand like what a true organic type of, relationship or discipleship relationship looks like. Because if we're walking together, then we got time for us to address this. I tell people all the time, let's say if you come to my church, right? And let's say you feel called to the prophetic. Well, I'm not going to preach on the prophetic every Sunday. Yeah. As a matter of fact, let's say I carve out 1 month in the year to really go in on the prophetic. So that means 11 months, you're going to have to endure me teaching on stuff that may be important for somebody else, healing, deliverance. And you're going to have to walk with me and be discipled in other areas until I get to the area you like. But for the 11 months that I'm not teaching on what you like, if you dare go around to myself, he don't ever think about me. He don't ever care about me. I'm not growing in this church. Nobody ever feeds me. It's like, because I'm not dealing with the one area you want me to deal with. Are you following me? So sometimes it just takes time. And this is why, whether it's Ruth and Naomi, whether it's Elisha and Elijah, this is why you have to make a covenant and say, wherever your soul goes, my soul goes with you. Wherever you go, I'll go. And, kind of alluding to what Jeff said, if you see me when I'm taken up, if our connection can withstand my elevation and my promotion, then you can have what's on my life. But if our covenant is not elastic enough that it can grow with my evolution, at some point that thing's gonna snap.
Right.
And it's going to be, usually it's a fence or something like that, but it's going to snap and it's going to be bad. So let's talk a little bit about this. So Trey, tell us a little bit about your background as far as music. How did you get into music? And when did you feel like you had a gift for music? And then of course, Jeff, you've had a background in music too. So we can all talk about that, because I want to talk about what are the advantages that maybe being a musician may add to both of you all as sons. But let's talk about y'all musical journey. How did you get into music? And when it comes to music, how do you see it? How did you discover your calling for it, your prophetic wiring? Tell us about your journey into music.
So my journey into music started with my older brother. He was like my first music teacher. He's a musician as well. He taught me my first song, and I was just inspired because it looked like something exciting to do. So from there, I was very inspired by, this is an old term, y'all gonna laugh, but our choir master growing up. He was amazing. His name is Hyman Bailey. He was amazing. At the time, I didn't understand spiritual gifting. It was just a kid looking at someone playing and singing and the reaction of the congregation. I didn't know about the anointing on his life. It was ministry, but I was in a whole lot of words, he was like my idol. Like I wanted to mimic everything he do, from the singing or whatnot. So that was a level of impartation. I just didn't know what was happening at the time. From there, I just started to develop, a love for it. And then sitting under my father-in-law, he was a musician as well. He had perfect pitch. He was an awesome musician. And that's when I started to learn about the anointing when playing. I remember the day he was like, Trey, come down with me to the church. And I came down, sat on the front row, and he got on the piano and he started playing Great Is Thy Faithfulness. And I'm sitting there and he started to tell me the history of that song, like the history behind it. If you study hymns, mostly every hymn has a story behind it. And he started to, and so that's when impartation of how he started to talk to me about the anointing, how, praying before you play, praying after you play, and whatnot. And from there, terms like minstrel was not even part of our language.
Okay, wait. Before you shift there, all right? Before you shift there, transparent, vulnerable moment real quick. Let's take 2 minutes to do this real quick. All right? Because a lot of people don't know. I don't even know if a lot of people in this room know. But Trey is married to a beautiful, amazing woman of God by the name of Darlise. All right? And a lot of people don't know that Darlise can blow.
Crazy.
All right? I'm talking about like blow. I'm talking about she can sing, like tear the house down. So I got a question real quick. All right? And I want to get vulnerable. All right? Why don't Darlise sing? Come on. What happened? Did something happen? Like, was it like a traumatic event? Did something happen? Like, why don't she sing?
Oh, she laughing.
Laughing in the back. Cracking up.
Laughing in the back.
Yo, that's funny.
we're actually working on her first single.
Hey,
Let's go. But no, let's not go in the future. Yeah. Let's go. I still want to know what has taken her so long. What has stopped her? What's been fighting her?
She'll have to be on the couch for that dance for herself. But
was it something? Was it?
No, I don't think it's anything. It's just timing. She has a lot outside of singing. She has a lot going on. She works at Morehouse and administration, and do a lot of stuff here. So I just think it's finding.
Okay, but when we was in 325, she wasn't doing all that, and she still wasn't saying it. I mean, it would be like a couple of times where we would like toss her the mic, and it would be bananas. And then as soon as she finished that, we should disappear again. For real, from the moment she came to the church, it was like she didn't want nobody to know.
Dar, you hear that? You watching live?
She on IG in the comments. Let me see.
Okay. While y'all are looking for that comment, I did see a really, really great question from Adolphus Scotty. He said, Apostle Meadows, how did you work through rejecting familiarity or being disappointed by your spiritual father? I love to get your viewpoints, experience, and guidance. Just like the guys on the couch said, for me, I've always had a gift not to take things personal. Right. That prayer that Jesus prayed when he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Like, I always, and maybe it's bougie, maybe it's arrogant, I always felt like the only way they could do that to me is they really don't know me. Like, it was always that. It was always like, oh, they must don't really know me, and that was the disappointing part. Like Jesus said, have you been with me this long and you still don't understand that if you've seen me, you've seen the Father? So, you feel a bit of disappointment. But I also think that within my blood, just looking at my dad, his anger, some of his stuff that he dealt with, I had a gift to kind of just cut things off, compartmentalize, and just kind of keep going. And so whenever I was disappointed, I just kind of, and I want y'all to understand, I did martial arts growing up. So there was never a process that was not coupled with pain. Wow. All growth, all progression, it was painful. Whether it was learning a split, learning a new form, it was pain. So for me, I never took pain as, oh, something happened to me. When I felt pain, I'm like, I'm growing. This is good. Maybe I shouldn't eat this. Like Paul said, it was good that I was afflicted. So I always had just a different kind of relationship with kind of disappointment. And then I grew up a very sad child, not because my mom wasn't great, not because my dad wasn't phenomenal. It's just that I was very sensitive and I did not know how to process my emotions. So I was always feeling rejected. I was always feeling alone. I was always feeling depressed. I was always feeling those things. And so in order to shield myself from those feelings, I developed a relationship with myself. I would talk to myself and talk myself through stuff. And so even when I was, even as a son, of course, Bishop can't do no wrong now. But when I first got with Bishop Brady and I didn't understand him, didn't understand his jokes, his moods, or some of the things that he would do, I would get offended 100%. When I first got around him, Bishop Brady was super close. Well, he's still super close. His second in command was a man named Grady back then, but then it was Bishop Ronald Godby. And we would go to certain places. And you know how you go to certain places and you feel like, well, I'm a son. We all should be able to go do the same stuff. Well, no, when Bishop dealing with money, he taking Bishop Godby. And I'm like over there in the corner, like, can I get on? Can I come in? And it's like, no, you can't. And so we'll get in the car. And so now I'm mad, like, or whatever. And he'll say, so Meadows, what? And I'm like, in my heart, I'm like, no, talk to Godby then, That's your friend. You want to take him in the back. You know what I mean? But I had to check myself and realize I'm serving in a different capacity and I have my gift and I have my role to play. So, when the scripture says you work out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling, you have to take responsibility for your own growth. And when you feel the sting of rejection or the sting of disappointment, you need to take that into prayer, take it into worship. And that's what we're about to transition to. Take it into worship and allow those things to grow you. Before we go into that, what about, go ahead, Jeff.
I got you. So I grew up playing the drums. But how I started, I was 2 years old and my mom was at rehearsal because my mom led worship. My mom went to school for dance. So Kappa is like a major performing arts school in Philly. She went to school for dance. My dad played the drums, but how my dad started playing the drums is similar to how I did. I was just 2. He was in his church. There was a drummer on. He wasn't like in the 80s and 90s. They ain't play. Like if you wasn't in the anointing, they was going to tell you, yo, get up, boom. Mm-hmm. So, and somebody like multiple people confirmed the story. So the pastor looked at my dad and said, you get on the drums. And my dad just started playing. He didn't know what he was doing. And the pastor was like, that's the anointing. And he got better from there. I was 2, got on the rehearsal and you couldn't see, I think my mom has the VHS. You couldn't see anything but like sticks hitting cymbals. And then one Sunday, my dad was an assistant pastor at this church. And I played for the youth choir. He took me upstairs to the sanctuary, it was just me and him in there. And he told me, get the sticks, hold them in your hands. And he poured oil on my hands. He prayed over my hands. And from that day, it was like, I was just nice. Like, it wasn't like I didn't go to school for music. I didn't know how to read, but the Lord gave me an ear to hear. whatever he wanted me to play at an early age, which was kind of cool. So I developed like the feel for it, just the time. And I had the benefit of always being around like great musicians, but then amazing minstrels. So for me, how you are with your choir master, like my god brother, Paris Bowens, that was my guy. He taught me how to, as a drummer, like you always want to create the environment of worship. There should never be a moment where you're not in the environment of worship. So that took my playing to a different level. And then my dad, like he would always talk about like Asaph. You know who Asaph is. And I'm just like, that's a crazy name, but we're going to figure it out anyway. So I always had the ability of being around people who were further than me, who wanted the luxury of seeing me get to where they are at a faster rate or whatever. And I tell Trey all the time too, like he's ushered me through more self-deliverance than he will ever know, just by how sensitive he is, like you said, like how sensitive he is to the environment, to the father's ear, to the house, and to us as individuals. So for me, yeah, my dad prayed for me. I would watch like Spanky. I would watch a couple of different drummers. And I just would try to do what they did. I got nice. And then the only reason I didn't like stick in music because I started hooping. And that was it.
I mean, but what you just, well, not just musicians unified can trigger the anointing, but a minstrel, he takes it upon himself to prophesy through his instrument, so forth and so on. I'm saying that all to say that you said that he triggers self-deliverance, and he does that for so many people. He does that for congregations. And this is why it's so important for you to be selfless with your gift, because imagine if Trey was one of those people that was like, nah, I ain't got my check, I ain't playing today. Imagine the thousands of people that would not get deliverance. So it does take a level of selflessness for you to understand, like, I don't have this gift for me. And every time I use this gift, somebody is being strengthened or somebody is being delivered, somebody is being healed. So I'm not going to hold that gift back. So I want to keep going kind of into this musician conversation. For both of y'all, what do you feel like being a musician afforded you, the perspective that it gave you, the sensitivity that it gave you? Did it give you an understanding of rhythm and pace? How did it give you a different perspective of ministry and serving, especially because for many of you, the entire time the pastor is up there, what you're doing, you're playing, you're having to support him, you're having to be there. Being a musician, being in that pit, having the particular perspective that you've had, how has that helped you in being a son, or hurt you in being a son, or how has that given you a unique perspective?
Go ahead, Jeff. Oh, dang. All right, I'll go first. All right. It's helped me because it's gave me flexibility. Just to be sensitive to an environment. And it's also given me the ability, if an environment is terrible, like it's not like, it's just worship, it's not a good joint, right? Like you at a church or whatever, and it's bad, it's giving me like an internal trigger, like, okay, I know what to do here. Because sometimes you go to houses where it's not a bad, like a disrespectful thing, but sometimes the skill, the competence is not there. People are just starting out. They're recovering from people leaving. It's a lot of different moving parts. Right. But I feel like as a minstrel, you are able to at any moment tap into that place of worship. So before you even get on a kit, before you get on the guitar, before you get on the keys, you have that internally. I would say it hurt me as far as expectation, because when you are always in a great environment of worship, it makes it, I don't want to say it makes it, it can make it extremely difficult to go somewhere else and be like, this is what I don't want to have to turn the trigger on today. But that's what makes us killers as minstrels. Like, it's really not an excuse. You go somewhere, you see what it is. If it's a bad situation, you are humble enough to know that the Lord has graced you to be able to have that internal trigger to tap in. But yeah, sensitivity, flexibility, and relationship. It's increased relationship so much with the Father. So yeah.
That's awesome. Trey?
Being a minstrel taught me stillness. It taught me that hurry is an enemy of intimacy.
Jesus, that's a bar. That's crazy.
You guys say that again, bro. That's
the
crazy.
enemy of intimacy. That's so good.
It taught me how to listen. It taught me how to observe. And also not trying to get too technical, but just knowing the when, the how. Is taught me about time and eternity. It taught me about moments, and just being in a place. I think not 80% of my job is hearing. The other 20 is expressing it. Because God is going to be speaking all the time. And if we are in a hurry all the time, we're going to miss the moments of being intimate with God.
Okay, let's talk now. Okay, let's talk, because I want to make sure that we transpose this, because number one, you're always in a position of hearing. That's just already crazy or whatever. But not just hearing what the Father is saying, but hearing through feelings and attitudes and stuff like that. And as a son, you should always be in a position. I can only do what I see the Father do. I can only say what I hear the Father say. So a son should always be in a position of hearing, but not even just the stuff that's said.
Yeah.
Sometimes hearing the stuff that's not said. Yeah.
That's why you got to observe, because what sons know, the apostle it may seem a lot, but sons know when he's on the platform, that's the light work. Absolutely. They know behind the scenes, he's in prayer, he's in study. So you always got to, paying attention to the little stuff.
Yeah.
It's paying attention to a cry out in the audience. God, what to play right there when somebody is travailing. God will give you something to play. So like I just said earlier, it's 80% hearing, and the other 20 is me taking that and expressing it. So that's all the stuff that being a minstrel taught me. But always being, if my playing don't work while I'm home, or it triggers the anointing, it's not going to work in the sanctuary. So that's my biggest thing too, is that it has to be more than the four walls of embassy. It has to, if I'm down at home and depressed, I should be able to go on my keyboard at home and play myself out of depression.
Right.
And I always tell minstrels, if it's not going to work on you, it's not going to work on nobody else.
That's dope.
So that's what, yeah.
But that's what he says. Like, he tells us that, like, hey, listen, y'all are getting prepared to speak the gospel. When you feeling down, you look in that mirror, you preach to yourself. That's the first, and I think the dope part about that is, like, we know that's light work, but he's showing us how to navigate. As you're pouring oil out, it's still oil being poured back in, but you got to be consistent in doing the work daily. You know what I mean? And both of y'all do a great job. I remember we were at the Chairs Are Changing. That was Tabernacle of Praise, right?
Yep.
The conversation that we had in the back was, even before, it was like, man, like, look, man, y'all got to understand, it's going to be certain days where you're not feeling it. And you was like, man, I've got to the point where I just understand that don't matter. And he was like, it don't, because I'm gonna be a killer wherever I go. So I think that's like another advantage of being a musician. Because, like, how many times, bro, have you been angry, not wanting to be here, not wanting to be around, but just a mindset of like, yo, I'm a killer. Like, I got, like, it doesn't matter. This is not gonna keep me down. Right. So I think that's like, you're
and even if, now. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's ministry. Yeah. I think in ministry of service, I think when we mess up, when we go into service as, what am I going to get for serving?
100%.
Like, it's no selfless serving anymore. It's like, how is it going to benefit me? And I think when we get there, then we lose ministry.
Yeah.
Because it don't become about the people of God. So it's just like in season and out of season, you gotta be just ready to go, because lives depend on it.
No, I was gonna say, I was like, even if you don't feel like a killer, once you start doing what you're gifted to do and you see how it is killing, you know what I mean? If you didn't think you were a killer before and you start seeing the effect, you start seeing God move, then you realize, okay, my feelings are not as big as my assignment. My assignment is bigger than how I feel. And a lot of times you got to push through. And I think that's why, again, I don't think sometimes people understand the advantage of serving, putting yourself in a situation where you don't have a choice but to grow. You don't have a choice but to show up. You don't have a choice but to be responsible, because you don't even know that think about, it's like, that's why I like trainers. That's why I like going to the gym with somebody, or, because when I'm going by myself, it's like, I can take a day off and blah, blah, blah. When I had a trainer, it was like, I'm paying for that. And it's like, if 3 days a week I'm there, and I'm not even able to determine my own pace, right? If I finish a set and I try to breathe, there's somebody saying, I'll let go. And I paid for that. You know what I mean? So you don't feel like you have the luxury, and you don't feel like you have the authority to be like, all right, give me a second. Wait a second. You know what I mean? And so I like that. And a lot of people, in order to just reach high levels of success, accomplish great feats. They can't just do that by themselves. They can't tap that level of potential by themselves. So having somebody there that can continually push them to that next level or push them to that next place of discipline is always awesome. But I don't think sometimes people really understand what's happening. They just feel like, okay, I'm just showing up. I'm just doing something. Man, you're developing discipline, consistency, faithfulness, loyalty, endurance, stamina. You're getting all of that just by being obedient. I got a question. I want to answer that. And then we're going to keep going because I want to talk a little bit more about atmospheres. How are y'all sensitive to atmospheres, not just as it relates to God and the Holy Spirit, but then how does that translate to you providing an environment where your pastor or your leader can thrive? Before we get to that, there's a question. Kim Holmes said, what if you're a pastor and your overseer really relied on you for a period of time? Then all of a sudden a new person comes and he stopped. He doesn't rely on you. He doesn't include you like he used to. And you now don't really know your place in the house. It's very much like rejection and abandonment. How do you handle it? Hear me. This is why anytime somebody comes to this church, I'm going to use you for an example, David. Met David at a live recording. David said he felt like he was called to be my son. I was supposed to be a spiritual father. I said, okay, cool. But see, I don't do side babies.
That's tough.
All right. Like, you ain't going to be my child in another man's house. If you in his house, he your daddy. He feeds you. But don't be over there getting fed, getting a check, getting all the new birth, right? Right. You get all that and then want to come over here and I'm supposed to pour into you. I'm supposed to, all right. Not going to do that. All right. But he said that he felt like he was called to be my son. Then he started coming to embassy. That ain't enough, right? You just coming around ain't enough. When you gonna join? Yeah. All right. Now, after you join, I don't want you to have a side relationship with me apart from the organization. So now you walking around and people are like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing something for Apostle. And there's no accountability apart from me. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to join a ministry. You're going to be a part of the church. You're going to help the church, right? Because now get this. So let's say you do that. And let's say, David, I say, hey, man, I want you to travel with me so you can get content, right? And we're going to travel the world and we're going to do A, B, and C. Right. But because you're traveling, you're busy, your editing is not evolving. Right. We seeing the same color grades. We seeing the same. We don't see a lot of motion graphics, but if we're seeing the same cuts and we're seeing the same stuff over and over and over again. No imagination, no innovation. I'm talking about the same thing. The moment I finish preaching, just, hey, blah, blah, blah. It ain't different, right? So let's just say it stays the same way for a long time, right? So then just for instance, right, let's say, I don't know, somebody comes along and let's say their name is like Slim or something or whatever the case may be. And so Slim come around and let's say Slim go around, and when Slim go around, I'm talking about the cuts and then, all this different stuff, right? All this different stuff. So one day, you show up and you got your camera, and the pastor's like, "Hey, I'm good." What do you mean, right? Oh, I'm good. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry. You do what you got or whatever. But now you start seeing him posting these videos or whatever.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Like, he's posting these videos and like it's going from like 2,000-3,000 views.
Y'all wildin'.
Yo. All right. Okay. So let's say this happens. Y'all gotta forgive me, Lord. I love y'all, man. Y'all, this is fun. All right. So let's say this happens, right? Never happened. It would never happen. But let's say this. Let's say this happens, right? First of all, let's have this conversation, right? First of all, most likely the pastor is not taking it personal. He just wants the best product possible. All right. If he is fair, he will understand that the reason David didn't have better cuts, whatever, is because the pastor had David doing a lot of stuff where he did not have the time to do that. So the pastor can't then put that on David like it's his fault, right? So that's the first thing. So sometimes when a pastor makes a shift, it's not personal. It's really for the betterment of the organization. Right. Sometimes somebody could do something that you could not do. Right. They could do emails a certain way. Sometimes they may have had a better attitude. It could have been many different factors that just made the pastor say, hey, I want to work with this person as opposed to working with you on this. And if it is for the betterment of the organization, guess what? You make that sacrifice. Now, where I do think that there is some culpability and responsibility, there has to be communication. David shouldn't show up and Slim is just on the camera, right? Before he shows up, I should go ahead and reach out to him and say, hey, I'm not going to need you today because I got this other guy doing A, B, and C. All right. And if he's not trying to hide anything, he's not going to be secretive or whatever. He's just going to say, hey, I'm going to have him do this. I like the way he does the editing or whatever. He does a little thing. I like the way he does that. And get this. If David is a good son, not prideful, you know what David does? Say, oh, 100% or whatever. And he goes and learns how to do it. That's what he does. But let's just say David isn't needed anymore to get personal content for the pastor. Well, guess what? Before he was doing that, he was already serving the house.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
See, and a lot of times when people are no longer in a certain position or serving the pastor and they feel like I don't fit no more and I don't have value and I'm not significant, it's usually because they weren't doing nothing else. They were not serving. They were not faithful before they started serving the pastor. So I would always say, go back to doing what you were doing before you were serving the pastor.
Yeah.
Go back to being a part of the women's ministry, the choir, the praise team, or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times people feel like it's embarrassment. Mm-hmm. I always thought about that. Think about this. For Lance, George, Andre, Jonathan, I know he's on leave now because his wife is pregnant. We're praying for them. Him and Stacy, we love y'all. Jeff, think about if one day I had to discipline y'all to the point that I had to sit you down. Mm. And now, see, it's one thing if it's Lance or George or even Andre, because we all the same height. So, you understand? So if one of y'all missing, it's like, oh, we don't, it's just a crowd. They don't see you. If people start looking and that long head Negro ain't on that. You know what I mean? Like if they're like, dang, what happened? And if they see you in another row, sitting down, somebody's gonna say, what happened? What happened? So that's what people don't like. They don't want the embarrassment, and then having to navigate honor. When people say what happened, and you gotta say, I was out of pocket. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't do that. It's like, well, he tripping or, whatever the case may be. So that's what you got to do. All right. You have to realize that it's most likely for the betterment of the organization. Don't take it personal, but most likely you hurt because there was a lack of communication. Usually charge that to his head, not his heart. Most likely he was busy just trying to fill a position or a gap. And so he probably didn't think about it, but he does owe you a conversation. So there's nothing wrong with saying, Pastor, you don't need me to do this no more. I know you had me doing this. I see you got somebody doing this. You don't need me to do it no more. Oh no. Okay, cool. I just want to know because I'm still showing up and I'm still doing ABSC because I thought you needed me, but you don't need me. Okay, cool. and you got to deal with that. But so have y'all ever had to deal with that? I mean, of course, Trey, you've come in, you've been a part of our label. When you first started, you weren't our MD, and you were a part of other churches. And even for you, Jeff, you've done many different things in ministry. How have you felt, or have you felt any type of way when Lance comes in? You know what I mean? Or George and Andre, they were already here. How do you feel when you feel like, man, dang, maybe I'm not being taken advantage of, like I'm not being utilized to my fullest extent. Maybe he doesn't, see me. Maybe he doesn't notice my ability, my potential. How do you all deal with maybe being left out, replaced, or you've been doing something and now you're asked not to do that thing anymore?
Before, I probably would have felt some type of way, but honestly, I know my seat in the MD role is not exclusively for Atreyu Singleton.
There you go.
I'm actually looking for the next David to step in and just be able to take this to the next level, because I know the Apostles' vision for where Embassy has to go is larger than just me. So I'm not going to take offense, and it's my job to not be offensive, so the next person coming in can be a smooth transition, because they got to be greater. They got to take it further, or further, whatever. They got to take it a step forward. Slim. But they got to take it a step forward. So I don't take any offense to that. I'm actually looking for that transition, because that's legacy is what you leave behind. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same. So it's like, it's a start to it, it's an end to it. There's always going to be a transition. Me personally, knowing how I am, because I'm competitive, my first question is going to be, all right, you don't need me? Am I trash? I'm not good, but you know me, so I'm gonna be like, so am I not good? Like, all right, did I do anything crazy? No, you didn't do anything crazy. I just, I want them to do it because I like X, Y, and Z. Okay, cool. Now the mature me is like, all right, well, what does this give me the opportunity to work on? What else does it give this opportunity to lean into, right? Because if you're moving me from one place, then you might actually see an open door that I'm not seeing. So it's again, like, you can't take it personal, because no seat in the kingdom is permanent for us. Like, it's supposed to be that. Like, succession is a big thing. That's a part of our inheritance. That's what we teach here. And I know that's what we believe in our personal lives. So yeah, I mean, if it's time for you to get shifted laterally, then it's like, cool. Sometimes you think you're moving. Oh my God.
No. I want you to finish.
No, sometimes you think you're moving like in the motion, and it's actually not. So it actually could be a better joint for you, especially if you're not out of pocket, then you good. You just got to be able to be objective. That's all.
I hear y'all. All right. I hear y'all. But let me say this. All right. And I won't speak to Trey as much, even though I will say earlier on, I think I interacted with you, Trey, and sometimes I would feel, I wouldn't say an attitude, I would just feel something, or whatever the case may be. But I don't really feel that as much now. And I think that that's because, number one, I think that we've just grown. Our relationship has grown together. You've learned my heart, and I know yours a little bit more. And also, as the staff started to develop more, as Pastor Chris really started to develop the staff, just that pressure of professionalism, I think, is on all of us. So even if we do feel something, I think we go through it. Jeff, on the other hand, I spent a little bit more time with Jeff and stuff like that. And let me say this. This is just good. This is good. When Jeff first started serving, it's not even just that it was professional. It was sonship without relationship. So I don't think the vulnerability of being emotional, sensitive, or anything was there. So it's just like, I'm show up, I'm serving, boom, 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 boom. The more I've gotten to know him and the more close that we've gotten, I've seen more instances where he's emotional.
Yeah.
All right. And where usually maybe something would have offended you, hurt you, or just made you feel the type of way. Usually it was like, you want to address it. Now I can see, I can start to, I can start to see it or whatever. And so I wrote this down while y'all was talking, because I hear you, and maybe I believe you, I don't, but I wrote this down. You all are musicians. So a lot of times, and it happens with musicians, artists, and prophets, and even Lance, because you being a barber is like a part of your artistry. It's like this with George and Andre, but not for the same reasons, not because of their artistry, but more so I think because of their ministry, prophetic wiring. But I think deep calleth unto deep, because I'm a sensitive crybaby. I attract a lot of sensitive.
That's actually crazy.
I'm serious. I'm telling you, or whatever. I attract and so I wrote this down because as minstrels, as musicians, as prophets, as artists, hear me, man. Y'all are some sensitive folks. All right, y'all are some sensitive people. Man, like what? You be about to cry, and you be
about to.
This is what I'm saying. So are you agreeing, or you about to? Okay, hear me. I know those that I labor among. All right. So this is my question to y'all. Well, number one is I put sensitive sons. How do I deal with sensitive sons? But I want to first throw it to you all. I'm sure you feel everything. How do y'all deal with being so sensitive and not taking things personal, not getting offended, feeling certain things? How do y'all manage your sensitivity around somebody who's also sensitive? And do y'all notice my sensitivity and how?
Absolutely. You are
wait, okay. Because I already feel that look. I already feel that he's like, oh, you came after me.
I'm not. You already know me. I ain't even on that. Absolutely, like your sensitivity. That's why one of the things I always try to do is like when I first get here, like I always try to just be like really quiet, especially when like you walking in, because like, all right, what's his temperature today? Like sometimes I might be like, all right, well, he had a long week, so he might come in today and he might just be ready to go. But
talk about what are the different temperatures that you've noticed? Because I want them to see it because as they deal with their leaders.
Yeah, serious, very, very impatient sometimes. But it's not a bad impatience. That's what I'm saying. Like you gotta let you see this is the thing when you ask questions.
No. I'm not talking about. No, I want you to be honest. I'm talking about George. I don't want George in the background. You want to sit on the couch, brother? You want to sit on the couch, brother? No, for real. When is he gonna sit on the couch?
No, April. We everybody on the couch.
I can't wait if you get on the couch. Yeah, I got stuff to say about him
but
too.
No, that's crazy. That so super serious, impatient. Like your comedic humor is either really dark or it's really funny and light.
That's crazy.
So it's managing all of those. Dark. It's like you're going to get one of the three, right? So just being sensitive to what it is. And you've had your days when you came in and you said absolutely nothing, and not because anything's wrong. You just locked in. So I think that it's always all right being in a place of being quiet, because one of the things you said, hey man, listen, if I come back here and I'm bringing a certain energy and you not bringing that, you might as well can get out.
That's crazy.
That's what you said, for real. But it's not a bad thing, because like don't get in the way of feng shui.
I'm talking about George.
Like don't get in the way of feng shui. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. So I think I manage it like that. But as far as like feeling the emotions and stuff like that, it's like, I think we all are super sensitive. I know me for sure I am. Like that's not something I like deny anymore. It's like, nah, because it's a benefit when it's healthy. But I just think it's like, if I'm having a bad day and you're having a bad day, whose bad day is more important? Yours is. That's like when we hear it's like your bad day is more important.
And wait, understand that's because of the nature of the relationship. Absolutely. And your commitment to serve. It's not that my bad day is more important than his bad day. Absolutely. Just because I'm a person or whatever. No. He has committed in our relationship to prioritize my bad day.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah. So it's just committing there. That's why like I remember like it was a couple weeks I'd be like, so how'd you sleep? He'd be like, maybe why keep asking me that? Because that's important. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so different things like that.
I just ain't never had a man ask me how I sleep.
But I want to let y'all know.
I got a fit.
I do want to let y'all know that it's actually crazy. It's completely crazy that you can have friends around you that don't ask, like, yo, how'd you rest? That's a bad joint. Yeah. That's a bad joint for somebody not to ask, like, yo, did you get good sleep last night? Because you got to perform today. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because it's like, bro, like if your energy off, like what
I don't know if you know that you don't. Do you realize you're tall? Absolutely. So when you come up on somebody, it's like a weeping willow. It's like you know what I mean. It's like somebody tired. So for you as a grown man to come over me and be like, "How you sleep tonight?" I was like, man, I don't know. Make it up.
I also want to let y'all that is such an exaggeration, because I was over here and you was behind the desk. He was behind the desk, but
I don't know about that.
Yeah, because we was walking in. I'm like, how do you? Because like that's a real thing.
No, it was right here, and you was
it was the turnaround
about the clothes and that. Yeah, you asked a lot of times. I was walking out the bathroom one time. You called me right when I was walking out the bathroom. You're like dead in my face. He's like, so how you sleep? I was like, I can sleep.
Dead in your face is crazy. Nah, but I mean, I think that's how you manage it. And then, you always want to have a high level of excellence with serving, but then it also lets you know how far you need to extend. Because there are certain days where I'm always say like, yo, you're the best in the world. But it's certain pockets where it might be more like, say it right now. Like the Holy Spirit be like, yo, say it to him right now. And I don't know why, but it might minister to you in that moment, and it might give you the extra edge. Just the same way, if I'm having a trash day, my phone will show an alert. Hey, what to do, man? Listen, I'm just reminding you, I'm just letting you know, boom, boom, boom. And it's a pick me up. So yeah, I mean, with the sensitivity, it's like you just gotta, again, the commitment is if I'm having a trash day, if he having a trash day, my trash day got to take a back seat. And for my life, how it's worked is serving. When I put that priority above, my stuff is handled by the time I leave here. So I ain't got a trip. Yeah. So it's just one of those joints for me.
What about you, Trey? How is it serving as a son, being as sensitive as you are, feeling everything, and then also managing the sensitivity of your leader?
Yeah, because Trey has an emotional support dog. That's what you don't know.
Are you serious?
He has a poodle. The poodle's name is Doodles.
Are you serious?
He walks around petting he walks around petting it. I've seen it in the parking lot.
Dogs. I can't stand pets.
Why you say? I literally thought you was being for real. I was like, wow.
No, I'm not gonna lie. It's very believable that he does have a poodle.
No, I do.
No,
for
fact
sure.
That you said it was so much.
No. But he definitely. If you look at him, just go like this. Poodle.
That's
like he had a poodle.
That's and then you said, didn't he have a name for the poodle?
Poodle. Like, yeah.
All right. So one of the things that, yes, we are highly sensitive, and I think it's a benefit, especially when we dealing with atmospheres. But with my leader, I know my gift is first for God, ministering to God's people, but also ministering to my apostle, ministering to my leader. So it does my heart well if when I see apostle even in service and the atmosphere is highly charged and he's getting what he receives. And that's based off of the worship, the music and everything. So that's how I kind of gauge that. I see apostle behind the scenes, like developing systems and stuff for the church and staff meeting. And he comes in, so you can tell when he's like serious about something. And you gotta be like, okay, this is gonna be one of them days, but it's like I gotta step up. You know, it's never a drawback. It's like, okay, I remember one time there was like a piece of paper on the floor. And apostle was like, why is this right here? And all of you guys were in here.
Why do I feel like lean on me? Yeah, that's what you remember, lean on me.
And he saw the piece of paper, but it was like a moment of where like, oh shoot, why did we all walk around that and then pick it up? But then you know that he's serious, you know, when he's, like you said, all these different moves and everything, but you just learn how to navigate through it by just being attentive and just responding to it if there's a need. But I just think for me, utilizing my gift to help the congregation and my leader is a benefit.
Let's talk a little bit more practically. So, of course, if you're ministering, you're playing an instrument, you're creating an environment for God, for worship, for the people of God. How do you do that on a day-to-day basis with your attitude or your serving? Like, how do you create? Are you doing that through prayer? Are you doing that through, do y'all worship before I get it? Like, how do you maintain that atmosphere, or how are you intentional about establishing an environment where your leader can feel comfortable, at peace, and where they can thrive?
It's the look like, here you go. For me, it's definitely being in worship and being in prayer. A lot of the times I think like I'll wake up and like the Lord will put a song on my heart, right? Or he'll just oh
man. You put a song on your heart, like what? Like go sing a song.
I'm not going to sing a song right now. But like,
this is a vulnerable space, man. Like, this should be a space where we are able to allow people in our heart and in our inner space. And if the Lord gives you a song for me, I want you to sing it.
Yeah. So the next time I'll send you a voice memo.
No, let's go back to the last one.
No, I think to
the last one he gave you.
No, that's crazy. But no, like this morning, for example, I was telling Lance and Dave, I was like, yo, I woke up at like 5, but the song that like rushed to my spirit, what is it called when you leave in REM sleep? Like whatever that is, like that. Y'all be trying, man. You go to deep sleep REM, but when you wake up, it's a certain stage before you wake up. I just don't know what that's called. So as I was leaving REM, like the Lord dropped in my spirit, by Richard Smallwood, like "Holy Art Thou God." Mm-hmm. Like in that joint, the whole day was like that was on my spirit.
How does that go?
You really never heard that song? Worthy, thou art worthy.
All right!
Like, yeah, you never heard that? You never heard that song?
He got one of them voices. He should have been on Sister Act too.
You know what's crazy?
He had one of them
You're right.
1990s. Come on, man.
For sure. If I was born like the 80s, I definitely could see myself being a part of like a Jodeci for sure. Like,
but you know what's so crazy though? It's like when we first got into this building, and of course, whenever I worship, if you're standing close to me, you're gonna hear me worship. But Jeff would never be comfortable like singing or something like that. But now all of a sudden, Jeff and Lance.
Oh, that's crazy.
Jeff and Lance be literally singing. Yeah, you did. Why did you stop?
Don't sing. That's crazy.
No, one day Lance was singing on the stage. He was singing behind me. I literally turned around. I was just like, engage. Don't sing. But no, I literally feel like when I'm worshiping and I hear Jeff sing by me, I always feel like, I don't ever feel like you're singing or worshiping. It literally feels like you're trying to tell me how I sound.
That's crazy.
Like that. Because he be like, yeah.
Wait, can you go to camera 3, bro? The world does not know you actually are nice.
Come on, here we go.
Like if you took it seriously to the point where it's like, you know what, Pastor, and I want you to give me some lessons. Like you be hitting some runs, it's like, oh, that's pretty tough.
Man, look, well, I mean, I know I'm nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just pick my spots. You know what I mean? Like LeBron now, I just pick my spots because if I ever arranged it. Because I got a few, like little good areas where if they arranged it and put it together and I put it all up, no.
Yeah, we could definitely tell like.
Hear me, I'm telling you, I could be. Listen good. Hear me. I could be Kurt Franklin for the prophetic sound and for the prophetic music.
Just better vocally.
Yeah. I don't even know that. But what I'm saying is, if I can do the little bit that I can do, and if I can stand up and just do that.
Don't do that. Yeah, please don't do that. That's not,
But I'm telling you, you get what I'm saying. If I can just, if all I gotta do is say, the heavens are open and step back and people sing and so.
But you've done that though.
But what I'm saying, if I made a career out of it, like if I did my own album.
We waiting for the mixtape.
No, y'all playing. I'm so serious.
No, we not playing.
Dave, I'm serious. Yeah. Me and you, I'm serious.
David actually can sing too. That's what you don't know.
Yeah, you really can.
That's
okay.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
David writes music.
I don't believe that.
David writes music.
Okay.
I can see writing music.
Okay.
Like walking and saying like not knowing nobody's listening. He can really sing.
Yes. David can sing.
Sing in Africa.
Hear me.
Everybody sings in Africa.
Lance, you telling me he can sing?
Oh shoot, that's crazy. That's crazy.
The more you do it, the more I know it's not.
That's absolutely crazy.
Well, I wouldn't know if David could sing or not because I don't ever sing worship.
Ooh.
So
yeah,
exactly. None of y'all can refute it. None of y'all can refute it. When you see them worship,
you digging my man's a hole, bro.
When I was staying on South
In Africa again?
No,
here, bro. No,
it's always after like a Saturday him and Larissa hung out. It's always like
oh, that's crazy.
Wow. It's always after seeing it.
That's
like he going in, he is crying.
Like,
he is crying. Hey, you notice everybody laughing except. That's what happened when you really in sin, bro. You can't laugh when you really in sin, bro.
He asked about I think he asked about how do we manage something practically.
Oh yeah.
Y'all are crazy.
So how do going back to managing our attitude, I just think always being in a place, I think, like I said, utilizing your gift to minister to you is of course it is for serving, but using your gift to minister to you. And that's how I keep my attitude. I'll never forget when you told me, you said, Trey, you have to keep your attitude because that's going to be the temperature for your team. You always got to keep your attitude as positive as, and I took that to heart. And so I deal with me before I minister, and deal with my attitude, my mood. Sometimes I come in here tired, but I have to deal with that so my team won't see that because I'm leading them. So you always will say your attitude is the texture of your soul.
Yep.
So always keeping that in mind as well. It's just like you don't want to rub people the wrong way with your negative attitude, your bad attitude. So I usually minister to myself or creating something to keep my attitude, in a positive light. Because creating always, I think it was you, Apostle. But like when you complete a goal, it's like it gives you dopamine or it gets you in a good space. So my goal actually this year was to like touch my instrument and create something every day. I know you want to say Paul. I know. Look, you want to say Paul. Paul. I'm you with me. You with me.
Oh yeah, I know you.
That's crazy. My piano. Okay.
Oh, that's what I call mine too. I call mine E flat.
E flat is crazy.
Oh, that's crazy. That's wow.
Hey, look, y'all, we gotta stop. We gotta stop doing
late.
podcast so late, y'all.
That's crazy.
We gotta stop doing podcast so late. We gotta do 7. We gotta do 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. We gotta stop doing it so late. All right. But no, you said something that really triggered me. No,
every day.
All right, y'all, come on. Be adults. All right, pull it together. All right, Jesus, man.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. But we were talking about. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And this is for real. We're being 100% serious. One of the things I cannot stand is when a person has a certain attitude around me, a certain level of respect, reverence, and honor around me, but they then don't have that same level of honor, respect to other people, either on their team, in the ministry, people that they serve with, especially when they feel like they can treat me good and not treat my people good, and somehow that's going to be okay. I can't stand that because get this. If somebody has to come to me about you, that you've disturbed my atmosphere. Yeah. So keeping the right environment and the right atmosphere isn't about just what you do in my presence. It's also about what you do outside of my presence. Because every time somebody has to complain, now hear me, are you here? Absolutely. Every time somebody has to complain about you, every time they got to come to me about you, something that you did, whether it was in ministry, not in ministry, that disturbs my atmosphere. And so if you're going to be close and if you're going to be a son, you have to understand the sacrifice and the sensitivity of you keeping your life together.
Yes, sir.
Keeping your life, you have to live above board. Because if you don't, they're going to always say, Pastor, I don't know if you knew this. Pastor, I don't know if you knew this. Did you know? And then that's going to disturb my atmosphere. So, yeah, I wanted to just say that. I didn't know if both of y'all had went on that.
Yeah, we did.
Both of y'all went on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Awesome.
Man, this is crazy. How long we been doing this? All right, we had an hour 42 minutes. We got it's 12 o'clock, y'all.
This is good.
This has been good. It's been real good.
You still got people on. You got 82 people on YouTube. You got
a question for you.
What's up?
As a son, how did you develop better levels of intimacy of your worship?
Say it one more time.
As a son, on your journey, how have you developed better levels of intimacy for your worship to the Lord?
And what do you mean?
Like, where have you seen, we talked about evolution in the beginning, where the same way you're like, hey, I remember all my encounters. Is it easy for you to look like this is where the evolution, like the next step of evolution of my worship?
All right, well, you trigger something. So first, keep that, but let me say this. You know how we say men grow at the rate of their encounters with God?
Yeah.
You can also say men grow at the rate of their encounters with their spiritual father. Yeah, or, absolutely. You know what I mean? And when I say encounter, you know the difference between you interacting with me day to day and then an encounter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you. Or it's a moment where I'm prophesying. It's not always a bad encounter. Sometimes it's a good encounter. But you know the difference between us hanging out and then those moments where we're in the sanctuary until 2:00 in the morning, or we're back here where there's like, man, he was imparting and he was doing, so you know the difference. And it's the same way in your relationship with God. You're going to be consistent. You're going to feel him all the time. But there's going to be certain times that you're going to be overwhelmed and you're going to be burdened. There's going to be an encounter. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not saying that this is, I'm not saying that every encounter is initiated like this, but the encounters that I can remember, the moments that initiated the greatest times of worship for me was after correction, right? It was literally after correction. And again, not always that the correction was bad. Sometimes it was correction that was fueled by disappointment. Right? Because it's one thing to be disciplined. It's another thing for your pastor or your leader, your father, to be disappointed, right? Where they're like, that's what, I mean? That stuff eats away at you. So whenever I disappointed Bishop, whenever I didn't do something, and y'all think I'm a stickler, like you said that I don't have patience or something like that. Like you talking about me being impatient and me being a Saul, you said something like that. Like when you think I don't have patience. Like there was a time that Bishop, bruh, and you missed the ball, you feel like that the world is about to fall down. Because you already know, Bishop, if I'm serving, like y'all serve me every week. So if y'all miss something, we got another week. I'm serving Bishop and we're in Africa. If I mess up, and man, when I first started serving Bishop, I messed up. I was messing up. Like Bishop, with his drinks, he don't like the wrapper on his drinks, right? I would forget that or whatever. And so, of course, I'm putting his stuff up and I'm putting his stuff, I go sit down and he ain't gonna notice it until he needs it. But by the time he needs it, he's in full swing. He ain't gonna notice and be like, oh, he gonna notice and be like, because now he's in full swing and now it's jolted him. Like he's like, man. And now, so it was not like it was like, you are an enemy to the anointing. You are trying to stop the move. Like, are you? So it was very difficult, especially when you're surrounded by people that are proficient, people that have been with him for a longer time. So it took me getting rebuked, going back to my hotel room, going back to my room. I don't cry because I'm mad. You know what I mean? But, it took me like processing that. And, that's what drew me closer to Jesus. Because during those times, I'm like, Lord, I need you. Lord, give me grace. Like, Father, forgive me. Lord, I don't want to hurt this. So those were times that really initiated encounters for me. And I had to find those moments. I had to find those pockets because you're all going to get tired. We're all going to get tired, So I had to find those moments. But yeah, let's wrap this up because I'm feeling silly.
I want to go back to something you said about correction. I think never losing the perspective of the Father and that he has your best interest at heart will make receiving correction easy. And I think that's where I have grown, is that if I'm playing a wrong chord and Apostle's like, I don't like that chord, that I know Apostle's heart towards his sons. So I never, like when we were talking about offense, I don't get offensive over that stuff because I'm like, Apostle, he has my best interest at heart. And I think where it gets shaky in ministry is when we think everybody has a bad, like an ulterior motive against you. And now you get offended at everything. But I just think we just have to keep the lines pure. Like Apostle has our best interest at heart. Even speaking to the people that are watching, that's a part of this congregation. He ain't back here scheming. Yeah, or trying to get over, or trying to get your money.
Y'all heard me back here just talking about one of our partners or one of our members and all that different.
Not a nail one time.
Never.
Yeah, not a nail one time.
It's always we have an opportunity. We got to do right by God's people. It's always been from a place of like pure intentions, because like I said, there's no way a leader can go outside of that and treat anybody wrong, because that's not Apostle's heart. And so I just think that keeps sons from offense when we know the intentions of the Father and we see how he's treating others. Yeah.
Jeff? I don't know if you had anything. We wrapping it up. So this is your last will and testament.
Yeah, I would say this is really great. I think
this has been really good.
more so because of like what's going on this weekend. Like I remember I told you, Trey, I didn't think about what was happening this week until Trey was like, man, both of your worlds about to collide. So I think this weekend is gonna be like super dope, like a major encounter, bro. Yeah, I really do feel like that. Like I don't just like certain like encounters can happen in certain ways. Like you said, I think this week is gonna be like, what just happened? But thank you, bro, for making it easy for
Bro,
us.
I want y'all to answer this. Go ahead. So sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you good.
Finish it.
Thank you for making it easy for us to navigate and worship, and for us to mature faster, and for us just to be like men who express their worship. Like it's hard to sometimes for some men, it's hard for them to do that because they don't know. And it's like, if the minstrel's not on point, I might not even know where to go, but you always on point, bro. So you give us room as men, in the house and the sons of the house to grow in our expression of worship, bro. And I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I wanted to ask y'all this real quick, because somebody posted this, and I just, it's a familiar question. This is on IG, not on Facebook, on YouTube. It's on IG, and I'm so glad that we're able to go live on IG. Shout out to everybody that's on IG. They have been consistently above 70 people, over 100 at a certain point. But somebody asked this. They said, "But why do people have to serve pastors up on a pedestal? Example, taking plastic off of water bottles. Why can't the pastor just be like the sheep and take the plastic off of his or her own water bottle?" It's about efficiency, right? Let me ask you a question. If you've ever seen somebody run a marathon, or somebody running a race, usually there's people on the side that serve those people that are running the race, right? Because if you're not running the race, it would do you good to help somebody that is running the race to be more proficient, to have endurance, and to have stamina. But if you ain't running the race and you don't even help somebody that's running the race, that says more about you than it does the person that's running the race. Yeah. But why would you want me, if I'm preaching the word of God, if I'm preaching under the anointing, and you are sitting there listening and I get thirsty, why would you hand me something where I got to put the microphone down, stop what I'm doing, open up the water, and why would you do that? It doesn't seem like you care about me, care about the moment, or care about God. See, you think it's putting somebody on a pedestal. Are you putting your wife on a pedestal when you serve her? No, she's a regular person, but you're serving her. You're submitting one to another. I'm no more different. Excuse me. I'm not different than that person. It's just that's their opportunity to serve. But the day that I had to wash over 200 people's feet, and my back is hurting, and I got to go home with that. Nobody said, well, why don't somebody else do this? No, that's my job. I'm serving. So that's their job. We all got our jobs and we serve one another. I just hate this thought because nobody going to say that if you get the president water. Nobody going to say that if the manager at Chick-fil-A tell you to go to Starbucks. Nobody's going to say that if you're making the band and you got to go walk across the bridge to get a cheesecake. Nobody says that. It's only when a pastor says, hey, can you do something? So when Jesus said in Luke, in John chapter 4, when they say, hey, you want something to eat? Jesus said, I'm good. But if you want something, well, Jesus actually said, yeah, I'm hungry. And they said, well, we're going to go get you something. They went to the city. Was he supposed to stop what he was doing so he could go to the city too? Even though they were all traveling, he was the only one teaching. He was the only one pouring out the way he was pouring out. Mm-hmm. So I'm just, it looks like the giant, biggest mosquito I've ever seen in my life. I just want to make sure they don't. Anyway.
We understand.
I want y'all to answer that.
Yeah. Well, to the adage of why can't he just be like the other sheep? Well, he's not a sheep. So that's why.
I am a sheep, but not in the context. Yeah,
like it's toward, like, you know what I mean? Like towards like, yo, like you're leading the house. So it's like he's not, like he's a shepherd. So every shepherd has somebody who, you know, is like, hey, they the runner. Like, hey, I need this, I need that. Like every shepherd has sheep
like that.
That's not a bad thing. Like to be like, hey, I need this done. Boom. That's not you on the run. You get
but I think that armor bearing and being a son is more than physical. Like, you follow what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you're doing something spiritual. Hopefully, if I say, hey, go do this or go do that, hopefully you praying while you're doing it. Yeah. And you have the right attitude, the right spirit, and you know why you follow what I'm saying? Like, you know why. I just think like when I have George go pick up my clothes or whatever the case may be, I hope he understands why. You know what I mean? Because you know how it is. If I got to get up in front of somebody and I don't feel comfortable with what I have on, I'm not going to minister at the level I want to minister at. So George getting that stuff out the cleaner, it ain't just like, no, it's like, bro, I want that. I need those pants. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So, but if he's like, man, it ain't that big of a deal, I can get it tomorrow or get it another day. It's like, that when I go somewhere, I'm like, damn, man, I don't feel comfortable in this. I don't feel, you know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it's spiritual. We're learning. You learn something through any spiritual activity, and I think a lot of times we make serving in this kind of setting practical, and it's not. Like it's all serving. It's what serving does is it humbles you too. That's why when Jesus sat and washed their feet, he was showing that you got to be humble while you serve. Yeah. So it's the same. I just think a lot of time, and I say this with a lot of things, not even just serving with a pastor. People don't even think the term menstrual is a relevant term today. Mm-hmm. And they're making it a practical activity when it's spiritual. It's discipleship that's going on. It's training that's going on. You know, some of the lessons I've learned in church, I take home and show my son them lessons. I'm showing my son now how to activate the presence of God every time he sees me practice and whatnot. Dad, what you doing? But it's spiritual. Right. I think when you already behind if you're making it a practical experience. I think.
No, for sure. I would definitely agree to that point. It is spiritual. So I definitely, and this I think is always good too to adjust the terminology. Mm-hmm. So I like that, like as far as, you know, making sure that you're doing it as a son, but then also understanding like it is important and it's actually an honor to be in that position. Yeah. Like I think if you don't look at it as like, hey, it's an honor to be here, then that's when it becomes practical. Back to the
No, you're right. Yes.
Yeah. When you don't think it's an honor, like you go back to just making it practical. And then that's when you mess up because that's where the being familiar comes in. And that's where like the collective disappointment comes in. But then also like you don't realize that you're actually disappointing yourself when you take the spirituality out of it. So yeah.
And it's as unto the Lord.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's spiritual. Like we looking at the man and we not seeing it from a spiritual lens. It's as unto the Lord. Everything we do should be.
But the issue is that, man, number one, it's hard to teach honor because people have so much idolatry in their heart. Mm-hmm. And most of the idolatry, we blame it on the church, but they were worshiping their favorite artist before they ever worshiped their pastor. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Before they ever loved their pastor and served their pastor, they were worshiping these other gods. But the moment they come in church and they want to have just a level of loyalty, oh no, don't you serve a man? Mm-hmm. Don't you serve a man? It's just so crazy. But I mean, what I was thinking about that made me, the reason I was like, is because it's hard for people to understand honor when they have no self-awareness of their real rank.
That's good.
You ain't as good as you think you are. Yeah. And you're not as big as you think you are. And the idea that you can't serve somebody else that is further than you, older than you, wiser than you, the fact that you can't learn something from somebody that has just went down the block, even if it's around the corner, the fact that you'll be like, nah, I ain't gonna serve, nah, I ain't gotta do it. It's like it's just like, I just don't I guess because I grew up doing martial arts, you couldn't get anything without submitting to a person. Yeah. Everything you learn, you had to go to somebody and be like, could you teach me? And then get this, a lot of times they didn't like you. They were bullies or they were whatever, but you had to go to their class and whatever because you wanted to learn A, B, and C. It's like, I think because of the information age and the internet, we just have a group of people, we have a generation of people that really think that they already know. Mm-hmm. Like they just see ministers like, oh, I could do that. You have no idea. Right. And if you don't get somebody that's going to take you into the inner workings of their industry and then walk you through it, then yeah, can Michael Jackson, can James Brown survive the industry without any mentorship? 100%. But that's because they are savants. So could you survive? 100%. If you're a spiritual savant, this is what you call to do your wires. Yeah, you could, but everybody ain't that. Most people are just okay trying to be great. They weren't born with a special talent. So everybody won't survive that. So it will take a level of submission and a level of pursuit in order for you to be able to handle it. Yeah. So we got to be done, y'all. We got to be done. Well, before we finish, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. But two of the guys that are on the couch, Atreyu and Jeff, are both in something that I'm developing called the Destiny Experience. Both of them are a part of it. Why do y'all feel like people should come to the Destiny Experience? What do y'all feel like the Destiny Experience is? And why should they come?
I think they should come because it's, if you are struggling trying to find purpose, I think this is going to be the event to spark that that thought or that quest for you. It's really a whole experience taking you through a life in someone finding their destiny. It's going to be spiritual assessments. The music is going to be crazy, and just the visuals, everything. So I think it's going to spark that journey if you don't know your purpose and destiny.
Yeah, I think number one, like some events are so big in history that you don't want to miss it. I just personally think that. I think especially for the body of Christ, because it's something that no church has seen. It hasn't been done. It's not a play. It's not a movie. It's not a TED Talk. Mm-hmm. It is a encounter. It's a setup for an encounter. Mm-hmm. It's an experience. And again, it's going to trigger your destiny. Also at the same time, it's going to allow creatives to get to another level of creativity. I know for me, I'm excited to be a part of it because it's taking my creativity to another level and it's expanding my thinking. So if you feel like you got a brick wall right now on your purpose or your destiny is uncertain, pull up. It's going to be amazing, and bring somebody with you too. Don't just come by yourself, because that's crazy. Who wants to discover pure gold and not have somebody there that also can benefit from it? So pull up, and it's going to be a good joint.
No, it was something. I don't know if y'all saw this. Number one, it was. I said this on one post. I said, people have been asking, what is the Destiny Experience? I said, this is Kingdom meets Broadway with a sprinkle of Kanye. A Newton, which is a measurement, a Newton of Nolan, and an ounce of Einstein. I said that's a great way to think about it. But then I said this as well. I said people keep asking what it is. I said it's a theatrical telling of a young girl discovering her God-given purpose and the pains of fulfilling it, told in another time, told in another world, driven by music and live teaching. The story of destiny unfolds. And if you understand this, there's a double entendre, because we're talking about destiny as purpose and destiny, but the girl in the play is also named Destiny. So you're actually watching how destiny is. Like, y'all ain't ready. It's going to be crazy. You're going to see destiny born. You're going to see destiny developed. You're going to see destiny disciplined. It's going to be really, really good. It's going to be awesome. And I can't wait. Just talking to Tiffany Buckner today about how we're layering the assessments and the teachings and all the different stuff, talking to David as well. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be theater. It's going to be music. It's going to be singing. It's going to be dance. It's going to be multimedia. And it's going to be revelation. It's going to be teaching. Man, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be a fun time. I just can't wait to be able to relax and teach the Destiny diagram with all the accoutrements and all the production. It's going to be really, really awesome. And I want you to be there. So go to thedestinyexperience.com, thedestinyexperience.com. Click on register. Get your ticket now, y'all. Come on. I want y'all to be there. $12.50. Our goal is $12.50. We probably already got about 50, 60 registrants or something. So now we need about 1,200. Be a part of the 1,200. All right. 1,200. That's not a lot. All right. That's not a lot of people. Be a part of the 1,200. If you haven't got your ticket, get your ticket. We're opening up digital registration and volunteer registration next week. So if you want to be a volunteer, you can do that. And if you're not able to make it on site, we are going to have a digital premiere as well. It's going to come with BTS. It's going to come with a digital playbill, all that different kind of stuff. So you're going to have the run of it. But that link is only going to be accessible for like 30 days. We're going to do like 30 days, if that. 30 days for you to watch it as much as you want. All right. But it's going to be awesome. And I want you to be a part of it. Go to thedestinyexperience.com. Get your tickets today. And I'll see y'all May the 24th. All right, guys. Last, I'm going to throw it to y'all one more time. Just wrap it up. Being a minstrel, being a musician, being sensitive, holding the heart of the Father, holding the heart of your leader, managing atmospheres and environments. What would you want somebody to take from this episode? What would you want somebody to leave saying, you know what, I gotta be cognizant of this. I got to practice this. What would that be?
First and foremost, I want people to take from this is knowing the heart of the Father, being sensitive to the heart of the Father, creating moments of worship so that it can keep your attitude and your mood in check, but also knowing that this is spiritual, and that, you know, everything we doing is to please the Father, even in our relationships with our Father. And as Malachi says, just praying that the heart of the Father turns to the sons, and the heart of the sons turn back to the Father. So hopefully you receive something.
Yeah, sensitivity and consistency. I think that is the biggest part of the conversation. That word wasn't used, but sonship is all about consistency, and that is a byproduct of your worship life or your prayer life. And that, again, you can't do anything outside of what you see your Father doing, your Father in heaven, your spiritual Father, your natural Father. So there's always room for you to have an example of how to properly navigate worship, how to properly navigate your service, and how to properly navigate being a minstrel. So whether you are an artist, whatever the case is, find that pocket, grow in that pocket, and allow the Lord to expand you, allow him to evolve you until it's time to get to that next place in worship, and everything will be fine. So you're a son first and you're a worshiper right after that. If you develop in that, you'll be good.
Yeah, I heard that. Hear me. If you're say it again. Say your son first.
Your son first, and then a worshiper right after that.
Now, I'm trying to figure out, but you say a son of God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Come on, Brian. What was I about to say? No, I was about to say, I forgot. Now that you cleared it up, I thought you said, when you said son first, then the worship, I was like, But no. You're talking about being a son of God.
Yeah.
100%. But that's it. That's it. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. So that's a saying. You never heard that saying?
Nah. You from Alabama. How you gonna tell me what?
But y'all have heard that saying.
Yeah, of course. Just like we've heard people say salmon.
It's salmon. It's salmon. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Lasagna.
That's crazy. All right, we love y'all. Thank y'all so much. What it was? Come on. Maybe I was thinking about the Disney experience. I was thinking about something. I don't remember, but I promise y'all when I do remember, I'm gonna hit y'all up. But every single Wednesday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, we go live for Sons Only. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Atreyu. Thank you, Jeff. Thank y'all for being on the couch. Thank y'all for your time. It was a phenomenal conversation. 2 hours. That's great. Awesome. Can't wait. All right, for everybody that's on Facebook, YouTube, everybody that's on IG, go ahead, make sure you following the page. Make sure you following. Stay tuned. Go ahead, turn your notifications on, and do not forget to visit thedestinyexperience.com. May the 24th. I want to see y'all in the place. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be crazy. You know, I'm telling y'all, man, when you do stuff like this, you really get a chance to see who supports you. It'll be crazy. All these people be watching and stuff like that. Y'all don't get y'all ticket. Get your ticket. Get your ticket. All right. I can't wait to see y'all. I love y'all so much. And I'll see y'all later. We are about to be out. Go ahead and end. Praying for us as we travel to Philly, travel to New Jersey. We'll be back on Saturday and can't wait for church on Sunday. So can't wait to see y'all. Don't forget, get your ticket. I'll see y'all soon. Thank y'all.